Dyatlov Pass. Terror on the mountain, the USSR versus the unknown. 9 hikers, 1 nightmare, no answers. You're huddled inside a tent on the snowy slope of Kholat Syakhl. Temperatures are dropping below -20. You've just eaten dinner, laid out your boots, and zipped your sleeping bag tight. Then, something happens. You sprint barefoot into the pitch-black snowstorm. You don't come back. Hours later, you'll be found scattered across the mountain, some crushed, some barefoot, one missing her tongue. You were experienced, prepared, and calm, but something made you run, and no one knows what. February 1959. In the remote Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia, 9 seasoned hikers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute set off on a winter expedition led by Igor Dyatlov. Their goal was a ski route to Mount Otorten. On February 1st, they pitched their tent high on a slope in worsening weather. What followed would become one of the most disturbing unsolved cases of the 20th century. When search parties reached the site weeks later, what they found defied explanation. The tent had been slashed open from the inside. Boots, coats, food, and gear were untouched. Tracks led downhill, some barefoot, some in socks. The bodies of 2 hikers were found near a fire pit, barely dressed. Others were scattered across the slope, some under snowdrifts, with signs of extreme trauma. One woman's ribs shattered, her tongue gone. Another had a fractured skull. No sign of struggle, no other footprints, just wind, ice, and death. These weren't amateur hikers. They were trained, united, and prepared. So what drove them into the snow in the dead of night? The official Soviet report was chillingly vague. The effect of a compelling natural force. It was clear they didn't know, or didn't want to say. Whispers began. Avalanche? Possible, but the tent wasn't buried. Military testing? The area was remote, ideal for secrecy. Locals spoke of strange lights in the sky. Radiation was found on some of the victims' clothing. Could it have been a Katabatic wind? A sudden blast of air so violent it triggered panic? A recent theory suggests a slab avalanche. It fits the evidence, but it's still a theory. The mystery deepens with every attempt to explain it. The Dyatlov Pass incident became a symbol in Soviet and global folklore. In 2020, Russian investigators reaffirmed the avalanche theory, but many remain unconvinced. The precise cause of death for some victims was listed as unknown. Families of the hikers still seek clarity. Scientists still analyze wind patterns, tent placement, and forensics. But in the end, 9 young lives ended in chaos, fear, and silence on a night when they should have been safe. You zipped your tent closed in trust and routine. You laughed with friends, planning tomorrow's route. Then something came, unseen, unheard, and scattered your team into the wilderness. The Dyatlov hikers were not reckless. They were brave, disciplined, and smart. And yet, something broke them, not just bones, but reason. Would you have stayed? Would you have fled? If the search for truth, even in the coldest corners of history, matters to you, like, share, and subscribe. Because some stories don't end with answers. They echo in the silence and demand we keep asking.